Right, hello and welcome to our post-match reaction. It has ended. Brighton 1, Southampton 2, and we have the three of us here, and we're going to be getting into that right now. Look at that. Look at that score rolling on the bottom. Just off air, actually, Dylan was mentioning to me that was exactly the sort of game that we wouldn't have actually held on to, and I'd probably agree with you there. I think that's been a big change. But Dylan, welcome to the show. Great to have you on board.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely fine. Well, on this show we're very accommodating to our guests. So let us know your thoughts. What did you think of those penalties? First of all, what was that?
Well,
what's your take on those?
First one, I mean, as biased as I am, as Saints fan, it was the nailed-on penalty, wasn't it? He had his arm right up in the air. It doesn't get much more natural than that. He's not doing like a Spanish tap dance or whatever. And then our penalty was maybe a bit more questionable. I obviously like the decision, but I definitely would have been very aggrieved if that was given against us. Because
exactly.
It looked like it was just outside to me, but if they want to give us a free win, I'm down for that.
Yep. Well, this is what I said to Jack actually during the live stream during the game, and I said to him, I said, look, if we're to take the letter of the law here, it's a decision that's been made by a referee that is not a clear and obvious mistake. So in the letter of the law, I'd be very, very surprised if this gets overturned, regardless of the outcome. But I just think we've gotten away with one there. It just feels like Jack's saying no. I mean, on this show we are horrifically biased, and I think that's the problem, that we're going to start to be like a grounded, sensible neutralists, and we're just not about. Ever since those Newcastle fans had to go on this channel at us, we're just like, no, we are just 100%
just biased. I'm just biased.
Absolutely.
I think the way for me the way VAR works now is. Both teams have to look at it like, if it was against you, you would want it, and that's it. That's just the way. That's the way it plays now. If it was against, if it was down for Brighton, all the Brighton fans would have been asking for a penalty. It's just you've just got to play it like that and just hope it works for you. I mean, if you ask me, it was probably outside the box.
Yeah,
but
it started, but it did carry on. I'm just watching it live now. Well,
put it this way:
replay. In slow motion, it looks horrible.
If I was in the stadium, I would have been shouting penalty. So that's how I decided it.
Yeah.
If I was there, I would have been screaming for it.
Yeah.
It was great to see some of that kind of partisanship coming back to the stadium, even though it was against us. But yeah, I'd miss that. I'd miss like the cynical booing for an obvious foul or whatever.
Yeah, it was that Brighton shot right towards the end, the Mumpai shot, the one that's just kind of on the turn, it just kind of missed, and it was great to just see all the fans like, what? just on the edge of their seats. It was just nice to see him back.
It was, but I was a little bit concerned with the fans returning and whether that would play against us. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if I had fan audio on or whether that was actual Brighton fans making that noise. I'm not sure. But
I could definitely hear the fans because there were some choice words I don't think they'd include in the audio mix for Sky Sports.
Yes.
I don't know. It could have been some producer's last day.
But I'm going to say we didn't play particularly well. I'm going to pull out a few players here. I hate to be negative on the show, but I didn't think Kyle Walker-Peters had a great game, and the only reason I mention that is because pretty much every single other game he's played very, very well. So. Perhaps not up to speed, but any thoughts, Jack, in regards to the player performance?
We say this every year. When you're challenging for a title, you got to win games even when you play badly. So to me, it was just one of those games where, like we said, this time last season we probably wouldn't have held on to that lead. It's just to watch us grind out a win and actually win something that we really probably shouldn't have, or we should have at least not got all the points out of it. It's just nice to see us hang on, especially after last week. Last week was just it was the ultimate. It was, this is what usually happens at Southampton, and then this week it was, no, look, we can come back and we can do stuff, but it all changed when Danny Ings came on the pitch. Before that, it was a much different game.
It did. I mean, Dylan, during the live stream during the game, me and Jack were talking about the influence that Danny Ings actually had on the rest of the team. Suddenly, everyone was actually pressing the players a lot more. I still thought we looked a little bit leggy towards the end, but it's great to see Danny Ings back.
Something I heard about that is that Danny Ings is actually the one who instigates the press at the front, and like all the other players kind of follow his lead. I think that was on Total Saints podcast. I heard that, and so you can see his impact when he's on the pitch. Just kind of, like you said, adds that extra spark. But I also think it was partly down to the fact that we managed to get a header from a corner just right before the end of the half. Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah, that was literally as we lined up to that free kick, lined up for that corner. Sorry, I said 1-1 at half time would be great, and then.
Right.
Comes up that big hoof. It's so nice to have a danger man in the box now. Just his headers have come on so far. I remember last season where he wasn't even jumping for aerial battles. It was kind of ridiculous, really. Like Vestergaard of last year is like Harry Maguire of this year. He just didn't jump for stuff.
And he was just a bit unwieldy last year.
Yeah. Just didn't seem to know what he was doing, and whether that's come with like. Yeah, just no confidence. To be honest, once he got that haircut and he got the hair out of his face, he seemed to be wicked. So, like we were saying in the game, I was really quite happy with the entire back four. Walker-Peters towards the end got a little bit slippy. But
we've done that though in so many games this season, where literally we get to like the 60th, 70th minute, and it just looks like we're holding on for dear life. I mean, do you think that's a fatigue thing, Jack? Do you think that's something that we're just not?
It's that thing that we say every week. It's that we don't have squad depth. I mean, if Walker-Peters isn't playing on that wing, who's going to play it? And you can't, as much as you love to hear that the stat of them playing every minute of every game. It's got to be it's got to be so tiring. Like especially at a late game like this, once it's 8:00 in the evening and you've really sort of zapped through a lot of your energy for the day. It's going to be. It's always going to be difficult. So it's that thing of.
Jack, these are professional athletes. They're not at work during the day. They're resting up. They should be fine for this.
Yeah, but I imagine that looking like that is a task all the time. Like this, I can just sit around all day. Like when I don't have to do stuff, I don't have to do nothing. But I feel like to maintain what they got, they've probably got to do something in the daytime.
Yeah.
They could play like 9 holes of golf and they'd be doing more exercise than I do in a week. So it's like...
So Dylan, if you had to pick out a man of the match for tonight, I don't even know who got man of the match.
If it's not Yannick Vestergaard, he's been robbed. I mean, and it's not just because he scored a goal, because even if he didn't score that goal, he's still man of the match, just because all the clearing up he did at the back, every time there was kind of a sloppy, loose pass in midfield, he was there to just gallop up and knock it out of the way, knock it out of danger. Bednarek did that too, but I felt that Vestergaard was much more effective at it. He was getting all the headers. He was doing lots of great passes, running up the pitch, starting attacks, and overall just really a perfect performance from a centre-back. And he's finally looking like the centre-back we paid all that money for a couple of years ago.
Right.
Yeah, I have been converted to a Vestergaard fan.
Well, I think we all have.
Yeah.
I think it had we said like maybe 6 months ago that Vestergaard would be a sure start in our starting 11 and would have scored 3 goals in the following season, we'd just laugh at you and just like, why haven't Leicester spent 50 million on him yet? But it's great to see, and to have a towering defender scoring headed goals like that is just another quality to the side that we're all going with. So
how annoying would it have been though to sell him for £25 million and then have him be a world class player for Leicester?
Right.
Yeah.
Watch out, January transfer window. Yeah.
It sounded like he was almost gone back in January, but there you go.
And none of us were unhappy about that either. None of us were like, oh no, that's a shame he's going. It was like, yeah, I'll take some money for him. I'll take that.
Yeah. There's a lot of agreements here in the chat section. David Baker, man of the match, should be the giant Viking. Absolutely towering, 6'6", although he looked like 8'1" out there today. Agreements from Tam Trader there. Jay Vincent, also Vestergaard. So, any differing opinion to that, Jack?
Nah, yes, spot on. But Vestergaard was the one this match. The other thing that we were discussing in the game is how before the match they were talking about the speed difference between him and Welbeck. And like I was saying for the game, the spaces that he pushed Welbeck into. So even if he did get the ball, he was running towards the wing and he wasn't running towards goal. He was just his spatial awareness is just so good. Like even for his goal, the space that he created for himself, he just seems to know where to push and pull players to. And he's just great. But then you also have to give it to Danny for the second half as well. Like he changed the game second half, and that penalty almost broke the net. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the best penalties I've ever seen because it did like he couldn't have been more in the side netting. It doesn't matter how good a goalkeeper or how good a dive you get, you're never saving that one.
And the celebration was great, just that.
Yeah. But like you say, Dylan, that was incredibly bold. I mean, literally to wrap it into the side netting, just like, really? I mean, especially with our history with penalties. I mean, I guess he's just been practicing them to make sure it happens. Because I remember just before, actually, I said we'd be better off with a free kick, actually, just outside the box from Ward Row. I wonder if we can take that as an option. But there we go. God, we've got a viewer here from New Zealand. Wow, look at that. 12 hours ahead, so it would be very early in the morning. Good morning to you. Wow. So we're in a quite bizarre position here because we have, after 11 games, 20 points. And we're
halfway there. We're halfway there.
Yeah. How does Jack always know the angle that I'm going for on these things? Yeah, I'm just waiting for the text message from my mates to say literally 20 points to safety. And that's normally one that I get after a thing's been. But I had on our audacious pre-season prediction for the table. I think I had us in 7th, didn't I?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I'm starting to not look so crazy. I mean, Dylan, what are your thoughts? What's your aspirations in your head and your heart?
So I was very positive after the end of last season because that was just amazing. We were just playing well consistently week in, week out. And so I was very optimistic coming into the new season, only to have it instantly crushed and pulverized by the first 2 games. And then I stopped believing. And so, but then we started winning loads of games. And when we went top of the league, I was like, okay, I believe now. And then we went and drew and lost a game. So I'm trying. Every time I get carried away, we lose games. So try my best
to bring us. They're so good at bringing us back down to earth.
Yeah.
Just when you start enjoying it, they're like, no, you're a Saints fan. Shut up.
Probably need it just to maybe bring them back down to earth every so often.
We're
not going to go on some kind of crazy unbeaten run, not with the squad depth we have, So occasionally having them brought down to earth so that they can get back to winning ways. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise in some cases. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's like you say. But I think that the thing that separates us now is the fact that we've had a good start to the season. And that's really what is sort of helping us. Because, the latter part of last season, we had was it 44 points after that game, which is a huge amount of points to take on board. But, you think it's weird sort of relating this time last year because, of course, this time last year we had played more games because the season had progressed on further. But at the end of November, we had 9 points or something like that. But that was after, I think, maybe 14, 15 games. But
because they just like Brighton, they only won once at home this year. And last year, we only had our first win of the season. I think it was this time last year at home.
Yeah. But I think Brighton will be absolutely fine.
Oh, yeah.
I think there are clubs that are far worse than them at the moment. But
Arsenal.
That was going to be the only saving grace. If we'd lost tonight, that they would have gone above Arsenal, and it would have been quite funny to see the Arsenal fan TV just go into an absolute meltdown. Which, let's face it, is what they get the views for. Sorry, shots fired there. That was a bit rude. But,
they're not nice and wholesome like us. When we lose, we're just depressed.
Yeah,
we have the correct reaction to it. It's just, well, that's it, innit?
So we lack the
anger. Used to it.
Yeah.
We're used to it. So,
can you imagine the excitement they're going to get from a relegation battle if that actually goes there? But
that banana kit is going to look wicked in the Championship.
My goodness, but no, 5th in the league. My goodness, right. I'm going to scroll through some of these comments. Let us know in the comment section what you thought of the game and what you thought of the penalties. Is probably the most contentious talking point of this game. Matthew Drew here. Good win. Not sure if it were a penalty, to be fair. Yeah, it's going to be one of those decisions. I have to say, after that Man United West Ham result where the ball went out of play, did you see that?
Yeah,
it clearly went out of play, and I think David Moyes looked above his head, and it was pretty much in the stand from where he was. But and they didn't have the technology to rule definitely or not whether it was in or out, and so I think we might start to see a few more Hawkeye cameras. But
well, we almost had a weird moment. I mean, it didn't happen, of course, but there was that moment when they gave the throw our way. But then Brighton took the throw and the referee didn't see, and then they ended up having a free kick right near our box. I think that was at the end of the first half, was it?
Oh, okay.
Did you notice that? Did you notice that the flag went up that way, and then Brighton took the throw, and then the Southampton players were complaining to the referee when they had a free kick outside our box. Nobody else noticed that?
No.
My cousin noticed that on my group chat.
Wow. We're deeply embarrassed, Dylan, that we didn't put that up in our live show. Well,
it was a weird moment, but it's just like, what have they scored from there? Is like,
And would it have been ruled out if they had scored?
Well, no, because it'd be the next phase of play is the thing. So it's just this is the weird inconsistency of VAR. It's like you can give a penalty for very questionable decision, but then when things have actually clearly and obviously went wrong.
Yeah. I do worry, though, about VAR. I think with the decisions that are being made, especially tonight's one would be another one, that they might start to look at it and go, look, you're just using it for too many things. And they might just start to say, look, it can only be used for this and for offsides, which they can actually put a line down a pitch. But it's difficult, isn't it?
They just need there needs to be a very clear ruling on who's actually in control of the pitch. Is it the referee or is it VAR? Because we're in kind of this grey area where sometimes VAR gets involved, sometimes it doesn't. And, there needs to be much more clarity with how it works. Otherwise, it's just going to keep on being baffling and confusing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're right.
It is that division between what's going on behind and the referees. It's just, you just don't know ever what's going on. It's the thing I've been talking about the past few weeks of the little things like, it'd be nice if the managers had that tactical foul, like that they could go against the decision. It'd be nice that they could throw a flag, and just someone else to go against what the hell is going on. Because sometimes it just seems like an absolute mess on the pitch. It's just, at the end of the day, what I'd really like is just for referees to be good at their jobs, and that's something I've wanted forever.
Yeah, maybe
just a good referee.
Well, do you know what? I was quite worried. Well, I wasn't worried, but I was thinking, imagine if they sent the referee to the screen to have a look at that our penalty decision.
And then that's the other thing, because
to say, I haven't got a clue. Do you want to have a look? It literally would have been like that. They would have been like, well, if they can't make a decision on it, there's no way that a referee on a pitch is going to be able to see whether or not it's inside. That
is the problem with those sort of decisions, because there's been a lot of penalties this year where if you look at it from one angle, it's clearly a free kick, and if it's looked from another, it's clearly a penalty, and then you go see the ref and look at it from one angle, and you're like, that's it. It's like, we can all see he's just looked at it from that one really the very worst angle you could possibly look at.
Yeah. And
he's given it. Whereas if you look at it, three other ones, it's not that. It just seems like he doesn't have enough of a call at what he gets to see.
Right. Yeah.
Just, here's the worst one. Here's the worst of it. This is the worst thing. This is the worst angle of it.
In all of those situations, though, it's always going to be interpretation, and interpretation cannot be digitalized. It cannot be put into a science that is basically deemed, okay, that is and that isn't. So I just think they might start to look at some of those ones and go, do you know what, we have to go with the decision on the field of play. So there we go. Hot off the press news here. James Pike has jumped in to let us know that Romeo got man of the match. What do we think about that?
I mean, he played well, but I don't know. I mean, he was good. He was great. Don't get me wrong. But Vestergaard didn't put a foot wrong, whereas I felt Romeo occasionally dwelled on the ball a bit too long, kind of lost it, which, I'm not criticising him because he played great, but I just don't, how could it not be Vestergaard? It's like when they gave Nathan Redmond man of the match, was it against Everton? And it's just like, did you actually watch the game? He was one of the only players I would criticise.
That seems to happen
doing much.
That seems to happen a lot of us, where we win a game and no one can understand who the good player was because we just played well as a team. They're like, Just give it
this
him.
guy just doing that,
Yeah.
is going sticking, and they're going,
Just
it's number 7.
I think with the Everton one though, I think they were just expecting Everton to win because like Sky were
Right.
in like the kind of Everton are going to win the league hype at that time, and so like they weren't even paying attention to us.
I mean,
well, that's how I felt about it.
before that game, all I thought was, oh my God, I have not seen Tim Cahill in an awful long time. And now all I think is, I've seen way too much of Tim Cahill this season.
Yeah, it's a bit draining.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think Romeo had a bad game. I mean, there was a time when he took the ball, his ball control was like Neymar on some of those where he literally just took the ball out of the sky and just dropped it on his foot and away he was. So he had a good game. Yeah. But you know, I think we're all in agreement that maybe Vestergaard probably should have got it today. But,
For sure.
Well, there we go. Any final thoughts, Dylan, on the game and the season ahead?
Well, I think we're showing our ability now to grind out results. Like we had that Burnley game earlier in the season, we have this game now, and if you can do that, if you can't just get the kind of spectacular wins or like what we do where we play really well for a spell, just about scrape 2-0, even though it should have been like 4 or 5-0, and then just go playing terribly the next game and lose. We don't seem to be doing that anymore. It seems like even when we're not playing well, we can win. So, and that gives me a lot of hope. I think we can go places this season, nailed on top half at least. And I'm not going to jinx anything about anything higher than that.
You're not jinxing us with any airfares to come with future games. No, that's probably a good shout there. Jack, how are you feeling?
Yeah, we're still going to win the league. The only thing I think we're going to look back at this game, and the one thing that's all going to annoy us is the fact that Redmond did not score that volley that Danny Ings set up for him.
Oh,
because that was it. When he took it and turned it, I was like, "This is going to be like that Matt Latiz volley," and that's one of my favourite goals of all time. And then when I saw Redmond line up, I was like, "This ain't going in." And then he just smashed it over the bar. And it's like, oh, for God's sake! I think looking back,
Danny Ings take it.
Literally, it's just like all he had to do is knock it back, or just drop it and place it. But instead, he just smashed it, and I was like, "Well, that's the draw in the bag then." So, but yeah, apart from that, it was such a good second half performance from us. Even when they started attacking and getting a bit more feisty, we seemed to keep them at bay. So, like you said, it's just great to see us grind out performances, and I think it holds us in better stead for Sheffield next week. Again, another game that I thought that we should probably be looking at how the form is. We should definitely be winning that game, and this would be a similar comparison. It would be a scrappy team that we're going to have to probably dig it out of.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game because they are literally fighting for their lives. I mean, they've got 1 point from the 11 fixtures that they've played, and obviously that's a worrying position to be in. But yeah, I mean, I can actually see us going back to what we used to play in formation in terms of like having Redmond back in the starting 11, and perhaps Ings will start on Sunday as well. I can see us moving back to that because it did look a little bit more like the old school faithful team were a little bit more competent, a bit more confidence when they were playing together.
Yeah.
Apart from that moment where I think Redmond was looking for Redmond when he was in the position in the centre of the park, he's saying like, "Who is down the left wing?" It's like, "Oh yeah, it's me." So, but aside from that, I thought we looked a lot more competent and confident when we had the others. So, but there we go. But what a position to be in. We're 5th, 20 points. Next few fixtures, both are winnable. Was it Sheffield United and then Arsenal, something like that? So both teams in the lower half of the table. Oh! For the Arsenal Fan TV, the clip up there. Sorry, boys.
But last time we got carried away about beating Arsenal while they were down. We all remember what happened.
Yeah. But like you say, we're grinding out results when we don't play particularly well. So
that's true.
We just need to make sure we stay defensive. But shame not to get a clean sheet tonight as well. But we'll see. Right. Well, that pretty much sums it up. Thanks to everyone who joined us on the live stream, and thanks to you, Dylan, for joining us in this post-match show. It's been great to have you on board. Do you have any social channels that you want to plug whilst you're on here? Any? Have you started a Saints fan account?
Well, yeah, thanks very much for having me on. I don't actually have a Saints fan account. If there's anybody in the very small cross section of Southampton fans and classic Doctor Who geeks, then you can go and find my YouTube channel, Lord Slar. But I doubt that there's many people in that cross section. So
I reckon there's plenty of cross sections of loads of strange stuff. But don't you worry about that. But you know. Yeah, do you want to plug anything while you're here?
You've literally never once asked me to plug anything.
I am asking you now.
I've been on this show
pretty
much day one, and never once have you been, do you want to plug something? I've not even got a link in the description.
That's no, I don't. Go buy it.
He likes me more, Jack.
I mean, the album is finished, but I don't have it out yet, so no, I don't have anything to plug. Stop you.
Do I put in a coupon code?
Yeah.
No.
It's you can have a Groupon code. It's just a Groupon I've got that's expiring. I need to get it gone. So.
Well, there we go. On that madness, we'll end it there. We will be doing our our preview show for the Sheffield game. We ought to schedule a time for that because we did it last week. It was on a Thursday because we thought Ralph was going to do his pre-match thing and it didn't work out. So it will be on a Wednesday or a Thursday, just to lock that one down for everyone. Once me and Jack figure that out, and of course we'll be going live during the game and post game on the Sunday. But always,
I'm going to be at work for that game, and and just real life, man. I hate it.
Grinding. Making it so much fun.
No, that's not how I make my money, by the way. But I'm just working.
Fantastic. Well, Dylan, thanks for joining us. Jack, as always, thanks for joining us. And remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, and come on, you Saints. And we'll see you in the next one. All right, see ya.
Bye.